think he had some very valid concerns in that. I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that, but I think it is something we should look at. I read it fairly very close, and I actually spoke to him the day of the Fireman's Memorial and asked him if he would come before the board to express his concerns, and he said he definitely would. I know this is not something we're going to do in the next 30 days, but I think it's really something we should think about, the possibility of maybe looking to lease space in the future, or to ask out there if there's anyone who have any space. And they may say, no, we don't have anything now, but we will have something in 6 months or 9 months. I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that, but I really think we should ask the acting chief to come in and let's just kick this around a little bit.
I would, of course, I never discourage any of our department heads to come in and have a concern, but it would seem to me this falls into the line of infrastructure. And perhaps, that's what we're setting out to do. And perhaps that's the committee that either they should be seeking from the fire department. We said that we're going to be able to departments and talk about needs, or he could seek them out once the committee's put into place. And to get that into the list and get an understanding and rationale behind it, incorporated in the overall plan.
I do agree, Mr. Chair, but I think that would be in that plan of the infrastructure, a permanent solution. I think, and I don't want to speak for the acting fire chief, but my feeling from reading that memo was he is looking for an interim solution, say within the next, and again, I'm not trying to put his words on the table, say within the next year or so, have an interim solution until something finalized could possibly be done, like an actual single bay station on the west side somewhere.
I think that would be part of the infrastructure committee, because their charge is going to be look at needs and prioritize them, and I would expect that that committee would come forth and if space on the west side was something that was a priority, but it wasn't affordable for a station now, but lease space, I would expect that as part of a plan from the infrastructure committee. We're going to build this, lease this at this cost, and in year 8 we're going to build a west side fire station on this piece of property. I would see that as melding into their charge to take that need and prioritize it, and if it's needed in 1 year, to see how it might be met immediately, which might be with a lease, and then later fit into the financing of the plan into a permanent structure.
And there was another suggestion that was made when we were talking about the Berry Center, the proposal of putting up some form of an unmanned garage to store a vehicle if that project went forward, which is another thing that's on the table. So I think it really belongs in the infrastructure plan.
I think all the members of the board are pretty much aware of the chief, both read the memo, but also I think discussions with the acting chief also. And, and I know that he's actively seeking out locations to see if there's something that the interim can be leased or something. So I know, personally, I know it's in the works, and I wouldn't be surprised if he came forward with some sort of proposal in the not too distant future. But I also think that the timing of it is actually very good as far as this new committee that's being formed, and Bob mentioned. This also may be addressed through the VFOR process, which you keep very much forward as we anticipate a little. My guess is that particular situation would be part of any type of negotiation with vacant properties through the areas.
The only other thought that comes to mind is if, in fact, the police station project goes forward with successful bids and we really should take a look at any impact that we have on the fire station side during the construction process and what short-term temporary steps we might take with construction vehicles and things that are in the area or some fire trucks out or whatever. Hard to imagine without knowing just what the project is, but it certainly should be reviewed. Anything else, Joe?
Yes. As a matter of fact, somebody had touched on it indirectly. I received a number of calls from citizens about an article that was in the transcript about J.T. Berry plans. A plan came forward from a town employee. I, for one, knew nothing about it. So I guess all I want to say is, and I believe I'm correct, that plan that was in the transcript was not endorsed by the Board of Selectmen, to my knowledge. I first heard of it when I read it in the newspaper. And many comments on when did things change over there, and I basically said they haven't. There are basically 2 plans out there, and that was not one of them. So.
Okay, comment on that?
Yeah, I can comment on that. I share that with Bob. I called up because we all met each other on Memorial Day. That was kind of a parade. We were talking about the article, and we all made some assumptions. And what had happened was that employee, through the normal protocol, if you will, did discuss that perhaps that alternative at a development team meeting where that was the right place to do it. The secretary of the development team takes very copious notes, so there was a detail, and the transcript had access to the minutes. And even though those minutes were some time ago, compared to the release, the transcript had that information, so it was written at that time. So we put 1 and 1 together and got 2, but in actuality, that's how. So the employee never called the press and had a one-on-one conversation.
Well, I'm not accusing anybody
Well,
of anything.
no, but let's, we have to,
Yeah.
That was a concern if that happened.
Right.
Well, the employee was confronted, that didn't happen. And how the information got to the transcript was through the minutes of the development team meeting that was held sometime before that.
Yeah, I have one more.
Okay. We gotta move this meeting along.
And this will be the last one. We touched on this issue earlier on the double polls. How long does it take us to get the approval from the Attorney General on what we passed at town meeting on our new bylaw? Or have we got? Have we got that approval yet?
I can touch on that a little bit. We've had, and I believe Pat Canner talked to you, Dave, but basically we got a call from the Attorney General. Basically, when we initially talked about this way back when, it was a Superior Court case out there, which, depending on how it went, could make the new bylaw amendment problematic, but basically it could affect the legality of the amendment. That case has been taken, I want to say, up by the Supreme Judicial Court to respond to. So what the Attorney General has basically said is they want to hold off on making any decision until that court decision comes out, and I believe oral arguments are already scheduled. I don't remember off the top of my head the exact date. So that's basically, if the case goes one way, the Attorney General will clearly approve the bylaw. If the case goes the other, then they need to consider whether or not the amendment runs foul of the decision of the Supreme Judicial Court, and that could be some variables to that. So they are holding off until, and there is oral argument, I believe, already scheduled with the Supreme Judicial Court. I don't remember off the top of my head the date.
So, thanks.
So we make it.
Yeah,
They don't want to make a decision.
Is that all set?
Well, they don't want to make a decision that
Not along.
just.
Thank you. I guess just a question for Dave, the Cable TV Advisory Committee,
Yes.
we have put a notice in the transcript, and we had applicants, I think we're probably past our 30-day window, and having sent those letters to the DTE, we should get a committee
Yeah,
appointed.
Bill had asked about that. I said, well, I'm not sure that it has like 30 days yet, but it's in process.
because if we could, maybe see if we could make appointments, if there is.
Yes.
I know that Phil's the liaison.
Bill was asking.
Okay, yeah, there is one woman, I can't remember her name offhand right now, but, who had come to the meeting and did put in an application some time ago and did have some expertise.
Phil was under the impression that 30 days had passed.
Yeah, I was assuming.
Well, I think Verizon's under the impression that 30 days passed.
No, I assume I have. Second, I attended a brief HDC meeting where the ESBC has attended on some exterior issues, two exterior issues regarding the batch. I'm pleased to announce that both committees came to quick agreement and barring any change orders, all external decisions regarding the batch have been made and approved and agreed upon between the HDC and the ESBC. So hopefully that bodes well for that project moving along. And lastly, some people may be aware, but there was a house fire last Friday night on Westward Circle, and I would, unfortunately, there was, I guess, significant property damage, but there was no loss of life or injury, which is the most important for either the family who lived in the home or the fire department. And I commend the fire department on their work on that fire. I did want to announce, though, that the family does have a first grade student at the Hood School, and the Hood School will be taking donations, both of material goods or preferably monetary donations, so that the family can purchase what they need. The Hood School would then present them with probably a gift card to Walmart so they can purchase what they need. So any member of the community who would like to help one of our North Reading families in need can just stop by at the Hood School office and give a donation to Helen Sideropoulos, the Hood School secretary, in the office there. And with school coming to a close quickly next week, if it can be in the transcript, and if anyone can do that, make a contribution by the end of the week, I know that it would be greatly appreciated by the family and the Hood community. We do wish them well. I'm sorry for the tragedy. That's all. Yeah.
Okay, Steve, just police station bids again are due when? Still
The subcontract bids are due
30.
First, and the GC bids are due on June.
No, that's not what I heard. I heard that everything was out like a week, or the GC bids
Oh, I
aren't due until after.
Did ask for confirmation, and I haven't received that yet. This is the latest thing. So it may be slipped, everything went down a week.
I think everything's down.
Last week in June is the
Yeah.
subs, and the
Yeah.
first week in July is the union.
I think when I asked Ken Jones
Ken
about
Jones,
that,
yeah.
that's what he said.
What's the cause of the slippage again?
The central register didn't get it out. That's my understanding.
They went to do the what they call the pre-selection,
Right.
pre-qual, and they spent a substantial amount of time on this. So that backed up, and they missed a date to get it published. I don't know.
Talking about myself,
We had, well, it was advertised, we had legal bids, invitation of bids in the paper. So the subs were June 22nd, and the general contractor was June 30th. And, I mean, they paid like $75 to run that, and if they have to run it again, they haven't told us, so.
Well, then maybe use it. Well, that would be good to push out.
And is that generally the architect
yes.
responsible for most of it?
Yeah, but my understanding was that, talking to Ken Jones, that a fair amount of the pre-qual work was done by he and the committee in terms of calling for references and whatever had to be done in the process.
We'll confirm it.
Just an update on the 40Bs, we're on 41 Elm Street, subcommittees met.